Women's Tech Radio, Episode 2.
Women's Tech Radio is a show on the Jupiter Broadcasting Network where we interview women involved in technology careers about their journey and what they're doing in the technology field. I'm Paige.
And I am Angela.
So, Angela, what is probably your most memorable computer experience as a young person?
You know, my first memorable thing is in like 5th or 6th grade, I was asked to write a paper and print it on the computer, which was like the first time that's ever happened. And I was supposed to double space it. Okay. So I sat there using my arrow over key and my space bar, putting an extra space between every single word on my 2-page essay, because I had no idea that I needed to go to format, paragraph, and select double spacing that automatically does that for me between the lines, not between the words. What is your most memorable experience?
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
I know, right?
Yeah. I had a similar thing where I was actually asked in 3rd and 4th grade to begin typing my essays because my handwriting was so atrocious that my teachers couldn't read anything.
Wow.
But before that, I actually grew up and my dad gave me a Commodore 64, so very old school, and he also gave me a book that was a kind of write your own programs book, only it's really like essentially you would just read the book and copy in these weird wonky symbols that were part of the Commodore keyboard. So it was like typing in wingbats.
Oh my gosh.
And then it would make a program, but it didn't actually have like any sort of rhyme or reason. But I definitely sat for hours typing essentially wingbats into the computer to be able to play like Commodore 64 Pong.
And before we get to the interview, I just want to mention that Jupiter Broadcasting can be funded by going to patreon.com/today, which is the Tech Talk Today Patreon page, except it supports the entire network. As a thank you, we do that daily tech show in the morning, Monday through Thursday, to as a way to give back to the audience. So if you would like to support this show, you can do that through the patreon.com/today. Now, who are we interviewing today?
And today we're interviewing Vinita. She's a founder of a small internet or technology consultancy in London, and we talked to her about her journey. We got started by asking her how she got involved in technology.
So, actually, it wasn't really, something that I loved doing. I guess back in 2000, which is when I was thinking about like which field to do my degree in. I felt IT is the only one which would yield me a good, decent job. And that's why I decided to go with IT. So I did my engineering in computer science. And right after then started working as a developer in a startup.
So you did a full degree in computer science to get going, but hadn't really had a passion like as a young person. It was just more the field that seemed best suited for lifelong prosperity.
Yeah, that's right.
Awesome. And since then, have you found more of a passion for technology?
Oh, yes. I guess I think I always had this logical and analytical reasoning. I was always very strong at it. And I think after doing my graduation, I guess I just loved it. I mean, from that day onwards, I have been a very hands-on programmer, developer, have been working in different programming languages, and just love it.
Awesome.
And how was it learning the technology, being in those classes? Did you find yourself being the only female, or were there other peers that were also female?
So I think we had the batch of about 60 students, and out of 60 students, I guess we were about 6 female. Yeah, 6 ladies were there in that course.
Wow, so about 10%.
Yeah.
Did you find that kind of made it more difficult, or did you bond well with the women who were in the program?
I don't know, actually. I mean, I'll be very honest. Like, I think until 2010, I did not even realize that there is a gender ratio problem in the industry. So, like, I just took it the way it is, and just got going with it.
I actually shared that journey. I got into it just because it was interesting and exciting, and I didn't really realize that there were so few women in the industry at the time.
I had the opposite. I tried to get into it, but it was so over my head, the NT class that I tried to take, that I ended up not actually taking it because it was a little too much.
Yeah, because, I was working at Goldman Sachs until 2012. And now when I think about it, there were hardly maybe 4 or 5 female engineers on the complete floor. And like the floor being of maybe about 200 engineers.
Oh, wow.
So, when I was working there, I literally never realized it.
Yeah. So can you actually, maybe you talked about that? Can you work us through your journey, like from getting out of school, like what your first job was like, and kind of bring us to where you are now in a couple sound bites?
Sure. So, 2004 is when I finished my undergrad, and I started working in a startup company. This was back in India. 2007 January is when I came in London. That's when I started with Goldman. So, like, right, I think just 5 days after I landed here, I got the job at Goldman, and I started there. And I think I worked there for about 5 years. September 2012, as I decided I want to do something on my own. So I co-founded this company called Systango, which is an IT consultancy. And then, like, early this year, I also joined Women Who Code. So right now I'm director, Women Who Code London. And yeah, I mean, I've been trying a couple of like crazy ideas of my own, along with my IT consultancy Systango. So yeah, I've been trying to push them as well.
So what prompted you to get involved with Women Who Code?
It's actually the same fact. So I decided to move out of Goldman just because, like, I wanted to explore a few more things. Didn't want it to get very comfortable with what I was doing. And when I moved out, I realized that there's really some problem out there, because when you go into conferences, when you go out into these meetups, there will be very few. I mean, literally that you can count on your fingers. And that's what made me feel that there's something that needs to be done here, and which triggered me joining Women Who Code London.
Awesome. Yeah, I had a similar journey being the director for Women Who Code Portland. That I just want to see more women involved because we can type just as well as men.
Exactly. I mean, and then, like, sometimes I don't know. I mean, now when I think about it in hindsight, I feel that sometimes people tend to feel that you are at your position because you're women, because, like, you had some sort of positive discrimination, and that's why you are given, like, some sort of privilege. Versus what I'm saying is, I mean, we deserve to be where we are, and there are like a lot more women who can do exactly the same thing that we are doing and can be developers.
Yeah, exactly. Um, what about technology right now kind of gets you fired up? Like, what are you excited about, either that's happening now or happening in the future, or what are you working on at your firm?
So, I mean, I work in different programming languages. We are an IT consultancy, so most of the times we end up doing clients' projects and the technologies that they want us to work on. But then, on the side note, I've been working on my idea, which is called as Codepunt Today. And this is more like a daily challenge website where we write one challenge for the programmers to attempt to every day. And we kind of like make it a bit funky by saying that you punt on your code, and if you win, then you become punter of the day. I think what I find most interesting on the technology side is the wearable aspect. So things that are happening with Google Glass, iWatch, and the way, like, it is giving equality to everyone. So now. It doesn't matter if you don't have good memory. With the help of Google Glass, you would potentially know the same things that a person who has good memory would know, right? So it's kind of like giving sort of equality, I would say, helping people overcome their shortcomings. So that wearable tech is something that really excites me.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Can you say that website again a little slower?
It's Codepunt, CODEPUNT .today. So
Okay.
Awesome. And for those of us who are across the pond, can you explain what a punter is?
So basically, it's like a betting on your code. And so you go in the pub for a pint or two, and so that's where we bought this concept that you punt on the code that you write.
Nice. That sounds like a great exercise and great motivator,
Yeah,
to keep learning.
and actually, this actually came in again, like last year when I was working with my team. You put in so much effort recruiting people, right? And then when you make them work on a project or on a technology that they don't really like, they tend to feel a bit demotivated, bit discouraged, and that is what actually triggers them to switch their jobs. And that's where I thought, like, I need to do something which would keep them engaged, and then at the same time, like, we should reward them as well if they're doing really good. And that's where I started this in-house competition. We used to pose one challenge every day. People started attempting to it. There was this competition that was growing within the team as well. And then, as an employer, what I felt was that I could see how my people are doing for 3 months, 6 months, and then I started making decisions out of it. That I want to give this guy this promotion because I see a lot of potential in him or her, and likewise.
Oh, that's really fascinating. So you kind of use it as like a litmus test in house to see how
Exactly.
people are doing.
Yeah. And then now, if you now since I've launched it externally, because different programmers are attempting to it, I get to see their attempts over the time. I could see if they are really learning, and you're kind of doing like your round one with them by giving them these challenges. They're attempting to it. You're rewarding them, but then on the backside, you get your LinkedIn profile. You see what their attempts have been, and then we also maintain scoreboards. So each developer has its own scoreboard. They can decide if they want to make it visible or not. And then we also give them tips. So every day we give them a programming tip, which means if you come on our website, check your dashboard, you kind of like learning every.
I think we lost your audio, but I'm going to go ahead and say that sounds it's like a coding social network,
Yeah.
essentially.
Sort of. Yes.
Have you
Yes.
ever recruited people that didn't work for you that have been using it by reviewing their dashboard scoreboards? Or is that not the purpose of it? Or I mean, I know it's not the purpose of it. The purpose is to learn and continue education and provide tips and support for budding coders. But have you ever found a potential candidate for your company?
Yes. So I have recruited like a couple of developers based on the way they have attempted the programs on Codepunt.today.
That's great.
That is awesome.
Yes.
And can you kind of sign up as an organization yet? Can you sign up as an organization to follow people or anything like that?
No, not yet. So it's only end of September, early October is when I went, when I launched the external one. Until then, we were just using it internally. And that's my plan. Like now, that is what I'm working on, to have the vendor or sponsors dashboard, you could say, where you could log in as an organization.
Oh,
That is
excellent.
great. I think we'll definitely have to have you back just to talk about how that's going. And once some companies get on, that would be great.
Definitely. And congratulations on the launch.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And actually, it had been a bit, a good ride, I would say, because I never applied in any accelerator anywhere before. And like right in middle of October is right when I came to know about Vera Accelerator, that they have opened this application round. I applied there, and I landed up into semifinals. And now I'm waiting for like finals results to see what they think about Codepunt.
Oh, excellent. Can you spell that accelerator name?
Vera, it's Wayra.
Awesome.
And I think it's backed by Telefonica. So I think it's third biggest accelerator here in UK.
Awesome.
Great. How is the startup scene in the UK? I think you are in London.
Yes, it's improving actually. In last couple of years or three, I think everybody has tried their best to put this as in the Silicon Valley of Europe. So I don't know. I mean, we haven't seen the results yet, but everybody has been trying hard, right from government to everybody in the private sector. Everyone is doing that.
Excellent. I think it benefits the world if we spread it out a lot.
Definitely.
Hopefully, yes.
Is there anything that you wanted to share that maybe we haven't asked you?
I think the only thing that I would say is whenever I meet any women here, they all have this preconceived notion that technology is very daunting. It requires you to work long hours, and it's something that's just not made for women. I guess, I think the way I see programming languages, technology, is they are like, just another program, another language. So just like the way you have French, German, you have like, Java, C++, and it's just a way to get your creativity out of your mind and like, do something tangible. That's it.
That is great.
Awesome. Yeah, I always like try to explain that programming languages is really just, it's a language to talk to computers. That's all it really is.
Exactly. So I mean, if women can learn French, German, and all of those languages, why not C++, Java?
Yep.
Awesome. And one last question I always like to ask: what's the best piece of advice you've probably ever been given about technology?
I guess just be very strong at logical and analytical reasoning. So if you are good at solving problems, I think problem solving skills is must if you want to excel in technology.
Yeah.
And this is what like my manager at Goldman, I guess, told me. I think that was one of the reasons why he hired me in the first place.
Yeah. And always the difference that I like to tell people that problem solving is not math necessarily.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Vita. This has been a pleasure.
Same here. And thank you for talking to me.
Yep. And we'll follow up with you in just a little bit then.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks. All right. Well, that was a great interview. Women's Tech Radio is a weekly audio show that you can get on jupiterbroadcasting.com and subscribe to the RSS feeds. You can also email us, WTR@jupiterbroadcasting.com.
Until next time.
Yep. Until next time.